What possession or possessions do you value most? Where and how are those possessions stored for safekeeping? Answer that in the bell ringer spot in your notes. Just like it's important to securely store your valued possessions, your financial records should be well organized and safely stored. What are some examples of financial records that should be kept? Once you pause the video to answer that question as well. So some of the things that you should make sure that you keep are outstanding bills, not necessarily paid bills. Sometimes it's nice to have a paid bill or two in there recently, but you don't want necessarily to just have a filing cabinet full of dozens and dozens of former TV, internet, phone bill sort of things. Payment receipts. So if you have a receipt, especially for a big payment, something that's not on auto draft, something that is a little harder, little maybe something like a medical bill or something. If you've got that paid, you definitely want to have that on there. Bank and credit card statements. This is especially true if you still get paper bank and credit card statements. I personally don't, so I can access any of my bank statements or any current or former credit card statements online. That's probably the better way to do that. Pay stubs and other job-related paperwork. Again, here I don't actually get physical copies of my pay stub. I have a portal I can go onto and get. But if you did get pay stubs, like for example, my wife gets pay stubs at her work, we keep those for the remainder of the calendar year. And then we keep them a year after that. So we have all of them from 2020 and then from 2021. And then on basically on January 1st of 2022, we'll throw out all the 2020 paychecks, and that will continue like that. Contracts that you might have, W-2s, things like that. Insurance policies. This is obviously very important to keep because you never know when you're going to need to use it. We've got our life insurance folder, and if, God forbid, something were to happen to one of us, then we're going to, the other one can just go in and check the life insurance folder and move on from there. And then loan documents for the house, for the car, anything like that. Student loan, most of my student loan stuff is all online, so that's not something I really have to worry about. And last is tax returns. You got to keep the tax returns in there. So you can list those in that box in your notes. All right, it's especially important to take care of other important documents that contain personal information, such as your social security card and birth certificate. That is something that you need to know where it is, have it in a safe place, locked at home, so that it's not in your wallet, it's not going to get lost. You only ever need your social security card and or birth certificate very rarely. And so when that happens, you can use it at that time. You know exactly where it is. Driver's license and passport. Your driver's license should stay with you at all times. But old copies of the driver's license or your passport, you know exactly where it is at home. That's not something that you need unless you are traveling the country. Credit and debit cards. Those would be any like old. So any current cards you need to take care of, you shouldn't let those just be sitting around. Health insurance card, you keep that with you. Where do you keep important documents like these, and are you taking enough precautions to keep your personal information safe? So for me, the things that are with me at all times are driver's license, credit and debit card, health insurance card. And the things that are at home and stored safely are social security card, birth certificate, and passport. And then all the things that we saw on this page as well. Losing these documents could lead to a ton of headaches, such as identity theft. So if you were to, for example, lose your social security card, then or your birth certificate, somebody could actually pretend to be you. They could start a life as you, and they could really cause a lot of problems for you. If you lose a credit card or a debit card, they could use that credit or debit card. When I worked at the police department, there was a scam that was popular at that time. I don't know if it's still popular, where people would break into older cars at the gym, the kind of car that doesn't have an alarm, the kind of car where you can stick a coat hanger into the door frame and pop the lock. And people, when they go to the gym, a lot of times they leave their wallet in their car, and because they don't want to deal with all the stuff in there. So what they would do, these thieves, is they would open up the car door and they would grab the wallet, and they wouldn't take the whole wallet. They wouldn't take the cash. They wouldn't take any of that. They would just take a credit card out of the back of the wallet, the type of credit card that you're not even going to notice if it's gone. And then they can use that credit card for a while before you even know what happened. And then you don't know who stole your credit card, where it was stolen from. You don't know anything. You just get this big old bill, and they've had free access to your good credit for a while. So that sort of thing is something that you need to be careful about. By properly cataloging and storing your financial and legal paperwork, you'll save a lot of time and anxiety when it comes to budgeting, tracking, spending, paying bills, filing taxes, even gathering the information you'll need to apply for college and financial aid. And I just realized that I didn't give you enough blanks in your notes for all those. So just do budgeting, tracking spending, and filing taxes. Um, okay, quick access to important information, important account information also makes it easier to contact banks or other institutions in the event of an emergency, like a lost wallet or stolen ATM card. Okay, so that's going to be super important to be able to do, so that if you've lost your ATM card, for example, you know exactly who to call and who to talk to, and how to deal with that, and you've got your account number there and all that. All right, how long do you think your old financial paperwork should be kept before it can be tossed? Answer that question based on what you think. That I know was in one of your Smart About Money assignments, so maybe you remember some of that. Many financial records should be kept for at least 7 years in case of an income tax audit down the road. Such records might include employer W-2 forms, year-end bank or investment statements showing dividends earned, proof of payment or charitable contributions, and any other expenses being claimed as tax deductions. So these are any tax-related things. Your tax returns, anything like that. Some documents should be retained indefinitely, including mortgage and car loan document, records showing stocks and mutual fund purchases. Once you lose the stock purchase certificate, what are you going to do? You're going to call the stock market and tell them that you own the stock? I don't think so. And then personal documents like birth certificates, passports, and social security cards. You should always keep those. Now, how do you store files? Well, you could use a filing cabinet. That would be one way. Also, a good idea to find something fireproof for things like your birth certificate and your social security card, passport, things like that. I have friends who live in the foothills in California, and they're actually family members of mine. And in that area, they always get fires. When I was there over Easter, they had a fire near their house, and so they had to run out of Easter lunch to go, try to save things from their house. The house didn't end up burning, but they did tell me that they keep all of their like very, very important stuff, like original copies of birth certificates and stuff, in a fireproof safe at their house. So that might be a good idea to do for stuff like that. And then digitally is also a good idea as well. Sometimes you might find that you don't want this big old filing cabinet, and so an easier thing to do is to just scan every document and put them all on your flash drive. Something external, something away from your computer. You can have it on your computer and on a flash drive. Maybe have the flash drive in a different place, like an office or something. Maybe have the flash drive itself in a fireproof safe, something like that, and then you could not have to deal with that. So really, with all of this stuff, the best decision is going to be to do whatever makes you the most comfortable and whatever you're going to follow through with. You want to keep these things. You want to keep yourself organized. and but you do have to pick a system that's going to work for you.